Hey everybody, hello, hello. I'm a little bit early because I have a little bit of housekeeping work to do. I don't know why it's called housekeeping when you have to make some announcements, but I wanted to start this just a couple of minutes early because I wanted to make you aware of something as you're joining. Hey Ken, Daniel, howdy, howdy. Anyway, tomorrow, Take Care Man has his mental health podcast. He's going to be joined by Peter Charkalis. He's going to be joined by J-Mac from the Canadian Mafia. He's joined by the Opinionated Brit. They're going to be talking about mental health issues. And Peter Charkalis is working with the Razor Company on a soap where the proceeds are going to benefit suicide prevention or go towards preventing suicide, or hopefully to. So check that out. You can go to takecareman.com and get the details for that. That will be airing live on Instagram tomorrow, and then I think he'll put it on his website as well. So make sure to check that out. So I started this a little bit early so I could have time for that announcement. I see a lot of people are coming in. Hello, Shaving Disciple, Robert, Glenn Helly, and I'm sorry if I'm missing people. We have Matt Fox, Anthony McPherson. Hello, good to see you. Good to see everybody, in fact. I hope you're all doing well this evening. Z Longshore, hello. I don't recall seeing that name, but welcome. Having a little bit of Yingling Black and Tan Tribe. Hello. Carlos, hello. Hope you folks are doing great this evening. I'm a little bit tired, to be honest with you, but we have a great show in store because Douglas and Fran from PAA are going to be here, so that should be fun. I may have to interrupt Douglas quite a few times, so just letting you know in advance. Not trying to be rude, but I got to keep it moving. Hey, One Pass Ben, Sweet Baby Ray, Black and Tan. Yeah, I like Black and Tan. Low sense to you all, and low sense is what we say to honor Nate. And by the way, congrats to Nate on having his son, Little Cent. So congrats to Nate. I hope Little Cent is healthy and happy and having a big time. And congrats to the whole Low Sense Skeletor family. Sorry, I'm a little bit tongue-twisted already. Jason from the Razor Company, hello. Tim Shaves, hello. Phoenix Shaving. Okay, let's go ahead and add Phoenix Shaving. We might as well just get into it. No sense in fooling around. All right, let's do it. Quest, and we shall be joined here shortly. And again, if I miss saying hello to anybody, hello, there he is.
Boom!
Is it just you, or is your better half? Oh, there we go. Now, definitely the better half.
Oh, we put each other's laps, it would seem.
Well, it's not seeing you with closely cropped hair like I was used to seeing the Mike Brady. And I know you cut it a long time ago, but.
Well, yeah, I did let it go out again, but you really traumatized me with that. I know coming on here live, I would have to. So here we go.
Hello, Fran. It's good to see you as well.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yes. How's it?
New, actually.
Yeah, it's a new.
So, do you prefer when it grows out like Mike Brady, circa Brady Bunch from the 70s, or do you like it closely cropped?
That's a good question. I'll have to think about that. I don't know. Yeah, it might be like a little bit both. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of questions because there are a lot of people that submitted questions this week. They were very curious to ask you a lot of things, so we'll get right into it. Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah.
I brought my own questions too.
Okay, good. Excellent.
We shows, and it's typically the same questions all the time, and I hate always talking about ourselves. So I thought, we could open it up too and talk about stuff that we're all interested in.
Right.
You and I spoke about this, how with COVID and whatnot, and the job, everyone's looking for a job right now. People are looking to. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about what scents play when it comes to a job interview, what role they play.
Oh yeah.
I thought we could talk about that. I also have some questions in the forums this week too about why people slap on aftershaves, just things like that. I thought we could toss around as well, rather than
absolutely.
How we've been.
I did want to cover a few things that people really wanted to know. One of the questions I thought was interesting was, Patrick wants to know, what are one of the scents that you've discontinued that you were really surprised that you had to discontinue? Like you just didn't see it coming. It was like, well, I can't believe people aren't buying this. Is there anyone that sticks out?
Well, I mean, there's probably some sense that we have that we should discontinue. No, but we're too in love with them. Well, for me, La Tierra Mojada, which we've brought back as a season, and it did good as a seasonal, but that's my favorite scent, and it's always, so I'm always surprised that it just has more, just because personally I love it. But yeah, we've had some other ones that, you know, for whatever reason just didn't quite.
Talk is cheap, people, is what it all comes down to. People will tell you they want something, and they may want it, but they don't want to buy it, is what it all comes down to. I find this to be the case with, like, coffee-scented soaps. People will always swear up and down they want coffee-scented soaps, but they never buy them when you release them.
Citrus is also true.
Citrus, yeah. People say they love citrus, but it doesn't sell.
I don't know how many lime soaps we've come out with that just never really.
That's a shame. I am disappointed in the people not buying those lime soaps.
Sacre Blue, an homage to Aquavelva. You'd expect that. I mean, people talk about it even now. Like, because these are scents that there you go, that we have released and then released again because supposedly the demand's there, and it's not. So it's really, in theater we say never trust the audience, never trust the audience when at the end of the show or during the show. And I think there's a crossover there. Like, you can't trust the customers.
Well, I do know in this one in particular, because I used this one maybe a week or so ago, and there was all sorts of comments in there with people wanting it. And also this week when I asked for questions, several people said, when are you bringing this one back? Because they want it. And so I said, well, you know, we'll certainly ask.
Yeah, I mean, we just brought back at 2 because
we like that.
This year we've had that soap as a seasonal, as a regular, and it does great as a seasonal. Keeping it around all the time, it seems to kind of languish at a certain point. But we had so many, like, I don't think we've ever had that many requests. I don't know what happened. So we brought it back, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely like
sound steady,
done good.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to kind of like maybe give things a rest and reinvent them, I think.
You know, it's kind of like this, Chris. It's very much like trolls too. Like, you know, people are more apt to complain and bitch and moan about people than say nice things. So we a lot more trolls out there against us. You know, in general, people think there's a lot more trolls and haters out there than there actually really are. So, and I think it's the same thing when people are requesting things. It's not, the demand isn't as big as we think it is, you know? There might be 3 people in a week that request something. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, everyone wants this. But then I go, no, it's just 3 different guys. Or maybe it's 3 guys that saw the same video by Christopher David Bailey where you talked about this. Now they're talking about it. So, and, you know, and then I think there's some guys out there that try to game me also. Like, you know, they'll send other people to request the same thing at different points of the day or whatnot. Huxley's here.
Hello.
I don't know. I mean, I really, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. But let's get some more Huxley time in there.
So moving on, Mike also had a question, and this, I've heard this a lot too. You have bundles, which I think is really good. If you know you like a scent and you're going to buy the splash and the soap, buying the bundle is the way to go because you save money. And I wish more people offered a discount for buying bundles the way you all do. But what comes up pretty often, or I hear it periodically, is Star Jelly. We want Star Jelly in the bundle. Now, I personally don't care whatsoever about if Star Jelly's in a bundle or not, because I prefer the splash, although there's absolutely nothing wrong with Star Jelly. But Mike specifically was like, why don't they ever have a Star Jelly bundle?
We wouldn't get off of it, really. Yeah, I mean, we already price stuff so fairly for the most part that it's tough to pull a profit from it when you start bundling stuff together. Some things are or whatever, but actually,
let me ask real quick, because your audio is coming up a little choppy. Folks in the audience, are you getting the same choppy that I'm getting? It's like you more than Fran. When she speaks, it seems to be pretty clear, and then yours is a little. It's like cutting out a little bit. So
weird. Maybe is it dog breath?
No, you hear. Seems okay now.
Okay.
Okay.
So, you want to take this one?
Oh yeah, just I'm sorry. Huxley keeps pushing me out of the way, literally. Yeah, it's just tricky. Like the last year, you know, with the pandemic and prices changing and, you know, we've had to raise some prices. Our goal is to not touch the soap and aftershave prices as much as we can. Our main ingredient for the soap, the cost of that has more than doubled. And we haven't changed the price of our soap. So yeah, it is tricky for us to be able to offer, you know, the bundle discounts. Cause then if, you know, somebody can do that. And then also with some of the other discounts that we give, it's just hard for us to be able to do. You know,
especially when we already have such a killer loyalty program, you know what I mean? Like where we can give back or where we can discount, we often do. Yeah, but, you know, it's tough. You can't look at everything the same. Well, you guys can. But on our end, as you know, as a business owner, like it's not as black and white as it's often seems. And if it seems weird, there's probably a reason for that. And
well, I mean, the alternative is we raise the prices of the Star Jellies 10% and then we bundle it, and then it, you know, I mean, but that we'd rather just keep the price low for, you know, so that's really always been our idea with that. And then we just want to try to not have to raise. I mean, everything is more expensive now.
Right.
You know,
right. So one of the things that I did want to bring up was it's a really, really good value that sometimes people miss on. And it is, you have the aftershave samples for 99 cents and you have a slew of them. It's like every scent nearly, if not all of them. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. And I'm like, well, if you have questions, grab a bunch of them, see what you like. And that can sort of show you the way. I have a ton of them that one of the things I do is take them when I travel too. So even if you're going to travel and you don't want to take a bunch of bottles or decants, you could just take those and they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, even I do the same thing. And the thing is, again, people are looking at it wrong. I think of it more of a strategy where it's cheaper for you, the consumer, to buy a sample aftershave splash rather than a sample soap. They often come at me going, why do you only offer 4 different soap samples? Mm-hmm. I want a sample. I'm like, well, you can try a sample. You know, try one of those. But if you're already familiar with our formula, you don't need to try the soap sample. Now it's a question of scent.
Right.
Aftershave vials come in, and that's just a better strategy. So if you aren't familiar with our soap samples, our soap formulations, buy 1 or 2 of those different formulas, but buy the rest in aftershave samples, and you'll get more bang for your buck.
Is there any possibility of some of the old PPF scents coming back? Pedal pusher fancies, like remember cucumber, black tea. I don't remember. There's a ton. Well, not a ton, but there's quite a few.
Yeah. So the best seller that Pedal Pusher had was Briar, and that comes back now as a seasonal in the fall. Yeah. And then we've done other iterations of, like, we have had a coconut, not outside of Pedal Pusher, and sandalwood. And so, but Briar was such a, like, that was the one kind of runaway hit that we had. So that's really like what
Cider House.
And Cider House too. Sorry, I forgot completely about Cider House. So yeah, that's the other one. So I mean, those are the 2 that we do. I don't think that there was another one that was like
Neroli. Well, I mean, Planet 9. See, that's another fine example. Is Neroli. When she stopped doing Neroli and Phoenix shavings happened, everyone suddenly wanted the Neroli scent back. They want, you know, it might have been the first one in Wet Shaved Them. I could be wrong. There might have been someone before us, but I think we might have been the first one to really broach that. Regardless, there was like demand for it. In different forums, I would see it and whatnot. But then when we released it, as Planet 9. And now 2 things could have happened there. Maybe the new name threw them off. They weren't reading the description. I know that's often a concern of yours. But it just didn't sell like you would expect it would with this demand. Right. So, fine example. But I love that scent. I just can't justify having it on the shelf because we do have a few on the shelf that are more favorite. They're more labors of love than actually, you know, than people than them flying off the shelves.
But you know what's cool though is like some of these scents, like Neroli. I think people like expect one thing maybe with Neroli and get something different. A lot drier and kind of more like bitter. A lot of people would assume. It is. But what's cool is like those are the scents like Neroli and Vetiver are like two of my favorite fragrances because they're a little bit like off, like they're not, chocolate or, like that. So I really enjoy that they're different, but I think that they throw people off a little bit just because like they're so, they have such kind of like a strange note to them that isn't like, they're like, I think, but then you get people who love it and they love it. Like, and then we've got like this one guy who's begging us for vetiver right now.
Yeah.
So I got this question a lot this week too, about the cube being on everything. So there's two-part question, and I think you started to answer this in a previous comment, but I'll let you expand on it. First of all, people want to know what is the cube and why is it all over everything? And secondly, my question is, why has the cube forsaken us? Why has it forsaken us? It was once a nice $6.95, and now it's like $9, $10, $11.95, and I'm like, what? Why did you do this to me, Cube?
Yeah.
After all we've been through.
I know. That's a fine example of prices our raw ingredients going up.
The cube initially was just not priced right. It just wasn't. Menthol, we put a lot in, but he's had a menthol cube. Okay, menthol is $35 a pound that we buy. So we had to really look at that soap, ingredients also. We had to really ask ourselves, if we want to be able to wholesale this, and the demand in Europe is huge for the cube, and really be able to like have a sustainable, healthy, we have one staff member that pretty much her whole job is almost making cubes, and that's, chapsticks. We want to be able to,
there was someone this week who I was discussing it with who actually mentioned wholesaling, and I don't know if it was Shady here or someone else, but someone mentioned that wholesaling in other places might be part of the reason that the price has been adjusted some. So maybe they're on something.
Yeah, it's just that the volume for the getting it now that it's been EU certified for that volume is so high. We just like it. The amount of dedication we have to give it has just like gone beyond our ability to be able to bear a lower cost. Really.
Yeah. That, and also, it's a half a pound soap. It's going to last you forever. It's kind of like,
it does last a long time.
You recall back in the day when we used to do the large tins, those were also half a pound of soap, and we got the pricing wrong on that too. We were new. We were very new. We didn't know what we were doing when it came to pricing or whatnot. We just weren't good at it, and we're a little afraid sometimes to price things the way we should price them. We feel like we're going to turn people off. So we'll try introductory prices and try to figure out the math as we go. Cube is it's one of those things, we don't want to kill people with our pricing. We want everyone to be able to afford whatever we have to offer. We want to be the people's soap maker in that regard. But sometimes we even, this COVID thing, really, we try to keep our pricing down for the last year because we know people are out of work and whatnot. But it's even affecting us now. So it's like we had to, as Fran mentioned, we brought up, we have to take all this stuff into consideration to move forward and to grow, really.
Well, and the other issue with the cube is that it's so heavy to ship that
you got a point there. Yeah.
We have our flat rate shipping, but our flat rate shipping doesn't cover the cost of the postage for the cube. So we always lose money when we ship it if somebody just buys one, or really even if they buy two, because it ships at they're not half a pound. They're always more. They're at least 8 ounces, but typically they're more. So we're in every angle, it was kind of a difficult product to keep that.
Gotcha. So Last Shadow has this question, and he's not the only one because I've heard this so many times. So I'm very, very interested in getting your take on it. His question was, when is Son of Clown Fruit coming back? Because he insists that the scent is different from clown fruit. And so I always hear people saying, the original clown fruit smells different from last year's clown fruit, from Son of Clown Fruit, from the other spinoff, which I'm forgetting, clown fruit.
Easy to answer. If you take soap that I made 5 years ago and take a soap I made yesterday that can be the same fragrances, they're going to smell different because one is 5 years older than the other. And that's how, thanks to entropy, I mean, when it comes to the fragrance, that's just how what happens. It degrades over time. So it's going to change. Any natural ingredient is going to change. That goes for the oils too.
Right.
They're all going to play a part. And, you know, soaps too will have a gamey, funky smell at some point in life as well. So comparing one from 5 years ago to one today, it's going to smell different, and people will swear to you, "You're using different fragrance." It's like, no, we're not. We're not.
So are you saying that Will-o'-the-Wisp and Son of Clown Fruit and Clown Fruit, same fragrance?
All the same.
Exactly.
There's people who swear up and down all day and every day that they're different.
You know, people. I won't say it's a vendor though. Used to swear that 2 of our mustache waxes were different, and the only thing different about them were the containers they were in. But he swore up and down. You know who I'm talking about. But he swore up and down that I was lying to him. I was like, no, they're the exact same. The only thing different is the container. So think about that. Psychologically, there's something going on there. We can actually have a different experience with something based on the container it's in or the packaging. We already know this in the back of our heads, but it's huge. And so I think it's the same thing with the name change and the label change you're seeing with these soaps. Plus, tack on the age. You can convince yourself it's different when in all actuality, it's pretty.
So go ahead, Fran. I'm sorry. Please.
When you use natural essential oils or resins, or you use wormwood and the plum fruit, season to season and batch to batch, they may vary somewhat. I mean, not a ton, but you can see. I mean, that happens like with vetiver is all essential oils.
Yeah. Now we're getting to minutia. I mean, like, yes, we could say that wormwood from California one year and from Canada the other, and at some level, yeah, geographically, it will affect it. It's like pine oil. Pine oil from California has a heavy lemon scent to it, so you can always tell if that pine smells like lemon, where it came from. That's one example. I mean, there's some other.
Gotcha.
There's always a variation in scents and whatnot, but I mean, your nose has to be really primed to notice a lot of these differences. With pine oil, not so much. But with this, with Will-o'-the-Wisp versus Clown Fruit versus Son of Clown Fruit, you'd have to be really, I mean, I don't even notice a difference, and I've been doing it. I mean. So
John Meyer wants to know if you all have ever considered opening a brick and mortar store with a storefront.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, would we like to do it? Sure. Does it make sense to do it? No. Do you guys want the cube prices to go up even more? I mean,
no.
It is so much more cost effective to not be that. You know, I mean, there's
different insurance involved. Plus, now I get distracted all day long with people. Not that that's a bad thing. I can talk all day long about this, and I would be talking all day. So I'd have to hire someone else to fill my shoes. Plus, we live in Casa Grande, which is a glorified truck stop. There is no foot traffic here to justify opening a brick and mortar. No. Absolutely none. I mean, yeah, people are going to fly through or drive through every now and then, but it's not worth opening up a brick and mortar. And it doesn't. For some people, I think it's a fulfillment of something in their lives, but for me, it's like, no, storefront is the world. You know.
Gotcha. Warren had a question about Old Spice because he says you're renowned for making these homage fragrances to vintage scents, and he wants to know why you haven't really, his words, not mine, taken on the Shulton Old Spice. Now, I know you make Cold Spice, but he says perhaps it's because of the menthol. I don't know, that it's not there. And according to Warren, like, there's nothing that has touched the old Shulton Old Spice. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's the same thing we've been talking about. His only example is he's using old Shulton's formulas from 20 years ago. Something fresh now, but at a chemical level, ours is pretty much spot on. The only thing different is the menthol, and the menthol will play with your nose and play with the scent. But if you get our menthol-free Star Jelly version of Cold Spices, are we doing that yet? Some of them we need to do that for that very reason. But I have to say, and no disrespect, but he's wrong. I mean, I think it's pretty much spot on. It's just, again, you're comparing it to something from 20 years ago to something fresh today.
So Lee wanted to know, why is the cube, kind of going back to the cube again, why is it on so many labels? And some people also said, I'm just giving you the feedback, some people like the cube on things. Some people don't like the cube. Some people think it sort of detracts from the other artwork. And so, you know, they're like, why is the cube on everything?
What a good question.
Because the cube is a character in the PAA universe. A lot of people don't realize, they don't get beyond the scent profile at the top of our pages. But if you scroll down more, you realize that we've created the whole Phoenix-shaped universe with different characters and ongoing stories. Hell, we just released a book, the last release.
Right.
So there's an ongoing story or saga with different characters coming and going. Cube is a big character in the story. And so that's why he's always showing up. And, you know, not to mention, on our labels, aside from Cube, there's also anagrams, there's secret messages, there's codes, there's visually, it's telling the story, it's pushing the narrative of the Phoenix Shaping universe. And it's just making everything, it's just a universe is what it all comes down to. And I think people understand that concept more nowadays when I say universe than back in the day, because people talk about Marvel Universe or all the, but as dorks was what we used to talk about 20, 30 years ago in the 80s.
So I have to ask, this is not one of those situations where they get the decoders and everything out, and then at the end it's like a Christmas story where the kid, it says buy chocolatey Ovaltine or something. Yeah. Buy the cube.
Well, actually, you know, that had crossed my mind. Actually, to a certain level or an extent, it is just like that. However, I think the payoff is a lot more than just a simple message that to use more Phoenix shaving products.
So I wish I had, Lee also asked, now, and I know talked to you about this before and you weren't super interested in it, but I have heard this a number of times, so I'm just going to ask. He says, when will you give the community what it wants and make the skin bracer dupe?
This is what I mean. I'm afraid to after Aqua Velva tanked. It's like, sure, I can invest in doing all that, but it's like, is it going to sell? You know, I think
the first run, that might be one that, you know, could have legs on a seasonal basis. I don't know if people would buy that one around the clock. I mean, I like it a lot, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
We've talked about it.
Personally, I don't. I mean, I have it. I have.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance. I'll never say never is what it all comes down to. But that's just it. I'll never say never. You might see it someday, just not tomorrow.
I mean, there's other stuff, honestly, that we're more interested in doing.
Yeah.
For that, but
that is one of those sort of classics. I know it's still around today, but it's, you know, it's been around for a long time.
It is, but it's so close to other things. Like, it's even close to Aqua Velva. Like, there's so many people next to each other that we're like, this smells like me and Matt. You see us doing this on the show all the time. It's like, well, that smell. There's been like let's find an example. Spruce that came in the same bottle as Sun Up by Gillette. It's phenomenal. Very difficult to get it. When you do find a bottle, you smell it, and it's like, this kind of smells like everything else out there. And so it's that pedestrian, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but that pedestrian type scent, that classic aftershave, that pharmacy aftershave scent. And they all are pretty damn close when you go back for far enough. And that's
one past Ben said WD-40 scent, please. And I'm telling you, Ben, don't tempt them, because they did do Hoppies, which is a gun cleaner, and it was right on. So
weird scents are fun, you know. But
that one is very unusual. Oh yeah, that's it right there. So really quickly, and this can be a short answer because I know the answer. Kim Gray just wanted to know why you don't use tallow, and I think other people already answered her question in the comments, but you don't have to expand on it. But
no flipping need to use tallow. The only reason why people like tallow is because they're not chemists, and it really goes back to it was an ingredient that was available to the industry way back in the day. It was a cheap byproduct of the meat industry for stearic acid. That's why these companies were using it. But people think it's like this magical ingredient. No, it was just for stearic acid. That's the only reason it was ever used. And since then, nowadays, we have all these other oils and butters that are available to us that actually have higher contents when it comes to stearic acid. So, but
Daily Carry Solution says he wants Ballistol.
And though, like us convincing ourselves of something else, like these scents are different when they're actually the same thing. It's like we convince ourselves of anything. If you tell them there's a special ingredient in that, they will have a different reaction to it, even though it's the same as this one.
So I have
bird.
I'm sorry to jump in on you, but I have a question here from Don the Navy Goat, who is still around, still involved. And he says, why did you stop making the Navy Goat? So I don't hear from Don much. So that was a very special question because rarely do folks hear from Don now.
Don, yeah, he disappeared for a little bit. He just came back. He sent me a PM the other day, or I mean, actually 2 weeks ago probably now, saying he was back, and I welcomed him back and whatnot. But that's another one that just didn't sell all.
Well, we had to go through. I think at one point we had like over 80, 70 plus regular offerings. It just gets to be so unbelievable. I mean, the amount of just stuff we have to have on hand to produce everything just gets it. It's me. I come home, I'm just like, it's just too many.
Well, that leads into this question, which you touched on a little bit earlier from Mac. How do you, in this environment, try to keep prices under control? And I think you just probably hit on some of them is, reducing the amount of different probably scenting oils or things you have to have on hand or supplies for certain special soaps, perhaps.
Size of collection, too. Like you'll notice some of our scents we offer the old formula, and then vice versa. And then sometimes we don't offer the old formula and we only offer in CK6. It's just like we can't keep up. We have over 70 scents, so it's like we can't offer everything in the collection for every scent we have. Otherwise, we would never leave work.
And some of the pricing wise, though, some of the issues like. We're always trying to buy in more bulk if we can, so that will save us. Some of the prices, I think, like part of it's like holding off, like maybe the shipping costs will level off. We'll have to see, like we don't know what the next year is going to be like. So to the biggest degree we can, we're trying to just stay as normal as possible. Some of our ingredients, though, like they have more than doubled, and that's because of like a variety of different factors, like just if you're importing things, that's a whole other situation. And so, we could take a hit to a certain point, and I think that's what a lot of businesses are doing. It's like you can absorb some of that cost as like it's just a temporary, like okay, we got to get through this kind of thing, and then if it levels off to a new place where it just doesn't really balance out, then we have to look at some changes. So we've raised the prices on some things because we just have product around, and other stuff we're just trying to like, okay, let's just keep it here now, and just hope that, we've benefited from the volume increase from the pandemic. So that's been one of the reasons we haven't had to raise more prices. Is just like we have more volume, so that helps us keep our overhead lower. So, it's just all those economic things that with everybody that we're all kind of experiencing.
Mac wants to know who comes up with the names of your soaps.
Both of us.
Yeah, both
of you.
Yeah,
I figured as much.
I came off guns a-blazing when it came to tallow. I don't want to diss tallow in any way. I just want people to know that it's bigger in their heads than it actually is when it comes to effectiveness. It's a magical ingredient that traditionalists in the forums for years have been touting it's the best soap, and that's what makes the best soap without any reason why. And so I want to say it's fine that we do that. We just don't need to do it, so we don't do it. I'm also vegan too, so I mean, there's that.
I'm going to give you a theory of mine, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think what used to happen is that some vegan soaps used to put coconut oil high up in the ingredients, and the soap would sort of fluff up. Whereas some of the tallow soaps didn't fluff up as much, and people tend to want a little more heft and density in their lather and a little less fluffiness. And that's my personal opinion, is that's where it sort of, maybe vegan didn't get a bad name, but there were so many soaps at one point in time that had heavy coconut oil and things just, it really fluffed up and got airy. And I think that was the difference.
And if you have coconut oil, then that can make the soap a little bit drying too. So if you're not balancing it as well, I mean, there's more soap makers now, and there's more people doing more things, more experimentation probably than there was before. And so, but coconut oil, you need it, but you have to have it properly balanced with the rest of the formula in order for it to do its job and not take away from the other benefits you're trying to get from this.
Well, the good news is, Douglas, I've gotten through most of them, and so then we'll be able to transition into your, special thoughts and questions. And we have a bunch here too.
So I should point out though, like at the end of the day, what it comes down to is there are good vegan soaps and there's bad vegan soaps.
Yeah, same thing with tallow.
There's bad tallow soaps. And the thing is, 15 years back, we didn't talk about tallow and veggie. We just talked about soap. Then people started to differentiate between the two to create a bigger conversation, I guess. But we just talked about the shave soap as shave soap. We didn't differentiate between the two. It was just like
Antonio.
That's a vegan soap. Even no one called it vegan or veggie back in the day.
Right.
Shave soap.
Antonio wants to know if there's any chance of seeing more availability of your products in Europe.
Yes.
Because he's in Europe.
Yes. Yeah. So we've been working hard to get a whole bunch of soaps certified. They have to be certified for sale in Europe, which just requires a lot of documentation, and it's costs money and it takes time. But yes, we actually are on the edge of sending 4 new fragrances over as we speak. One was just picked up today, and the goal is that next year we're gonna another like 15 to 20 at least. These soaps are easier to get over there. We try to get those through as quickly as we can. But yes, and then we're also trying to expand our product offering as well, like other types of, like maybe get star jellies over there. We got cubes over there, which has been great. The travel scuttles over there, and people, I mean, it's just a matter of, it's kind of like a whole separate business, really. Getting that going. It's just been, it's just had a lot of work to do, really. We're kind of outgrowing our own space and time. So
Kim Gray wants to know, she's putting you both on the spot. She wants to know each of your favorite scent and razor.
I don't have a favorite. I don't even have a favorite color, which goes back to my childhood. I always felt like why limit myself? So I don't, the reason why we have so many scents is because I don't have a favorite scent. If I wake up in the morning with in some mood or whatever, I'll work on a new scent that day. So I don't really have a favorite scent or a favorite razor at that. I don't think any of us do. Like in this hobby,
I couldn't narrow it down. No.
That's the beautiful thing about traditional shaving is we have all these options. I mean, Shave of the Day photos are proof of that. You don't need to settle. And I think even though people say they have favorites, they really don't in this day and age because we're always mixing it up.
That's true. Anything from you, Fran, or are you sort of in the same boat?
No, I'm not in the same boat. I'm in my own boat.
She's left-handed also.
Yeah, I'm in my own little rowboat there.
You're not in the CAD boat?
No, La Tierra Mojada is my favorite scent. That's the deal with that. And then I like the double slant. I like the Creatura because it's got sparkles in it. It's green. Yeah.
You know what's an underrated scent? Future Fiction. Every time I smell that, I'm like, I'm surprised.
Oh, it's huge.
It's one of our best sellers.
I know, but you don't see it as much. Like you'll see people use it from time to time, but it's not like, perhaps some of the others. It's a good scent. I like it a lot. Every time I smell it, I'm like, this is good.
It's I think it works for like old dudes as well as young dudes is what it all comes down to. I think it's really it has a wider audience, but people do love Future Fiction.
It's very cool. That was
yeah, it is. Now I did apparently you all have been sending out some aftershave samples of something upcoming, and I'm certainly not going to talk too much about it, but some people in the comments this week have been asking because apparently they've gotten samples of aftershaves. Droid. And they're like, when is it coming? When is it coming? When is it coming? So there's some information out there evidently on it because some people have commented on it this week.
Droid Black.
Droid Black.
Right.
Calling it Droid. It's Droid Black. Droid Black is an homage to Floyd Black.
Right.
So.
And who came up with the name for that one?
That's right,
It's
folks.
surprise.
So the cease and desist goes to Fran.
The cease and desist go to Fran. No, just over that one. They dropped it. They discontinued Floyd Black. So we're doing.
Oh, is it? Have you confirmed that they?
I believe West Coast Shaving confirmed it. I think.
Now, where did you get the idea for this particular one?
Where did we get the? Well, this fella on YouTube, his name, what's his name? Christopher David Bailey, I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
A big thank you for that one. Like, this has been
No, that one is great. I really like it a lot.
a fun project working on this. But this, and what was the other one that you told us to do?
The Perazzo Green was another one.
Yes.
Aftershave.
Oh,
This one.
Awesome song. So
Yeah.
like those, yes, exactly.
Yeah, which is a great.
So-
it's such a nice.
I love that.
All you do, buddy. So
I
if
love that
you
one.
find folks out there don't enjoy Droid Black, you know who to blame. But you!
It'll be my fault, but
No.
honestly, Floyd Black has always been my favorite of the Floyds. And I had all the Floyds. And honestly, I didn't keep Floyd Blue or the Vigorosa, I think. And there's another orangish one.
Yeah.
I always liked Black the best. I always have.
and that's
And
the youngest out of all of them. That's why I'm
Yeah.
I think that came out in like 2012.
Yeah.
So
Somewhere around.
a 10-year run. So I mean, that's just bizarre. Because
Oh, this is.
it is
If it has in fact been discontinued, then this is going to be really timely because it's great. I've bought probably 3 or 4 bottles of it over the years. I like it a lot.
yeah. I'm super stoked about this, and I'm glad that you really pushed us on this one. Because I think you've been talking about this for years about it. So it was bound. It had to happen, and so I thank you for that, Chris. And
No, thank you. It was one of those. And this one, awesome sauce. I tried to have other people make this, and it never came out right. It always came out either too much eucalyptus, like the soap. It just never was right. And then when I got this one, I was like, oh, man, this is just exactly what I was looking for, because I always liked the aftershave splash for Perazzo Green more than the soap. It has a nice, fresh,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I just really like it a lot. It smells, I don't mind the soap, but it's worlds different from the Perazzo Green soap.
that's tradition. I mean, back in the day, aftershaves and soaps didn't match each other. Look at Williams and Aquavelva.
Right.
Men weren't thinking about stuff like that back then. It was just an aftershave was utilitarian. The fragrance of the aftershave it was an afterthought. It was really just about being an antiseptic. So it's not what it is today, or it wasn't.
So swiveling back to this one, because we got a lot of comments. So there's a chance of that one at some point making a return, maybe for a limited run or seasonal too.
Yes,
Perhaps.
and we just released our new app. It's kind of like the Amazon app in the same place where it's just on people's phones and it's easy for them to use and so on and so forth. So we plan on doing some in-app only release. You can't get on our web on the app, and I think that is one of them that we will. Sacre Bleu, which will be the homage to Aquavelva. I think that's what we'll release as an in-app release.
And I remember specifically years ago. Now, this is one of because sometimes I know there's some, I wouldn't say controversy, but you have been making these sort of scents for a long time, because this one is pretty old.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say 7 years old, maybe. I'm not exactly sure how old it is, but I remember specifically when you made this, you told me, because I was using Aquavelva, and I'm like, hey, I got something. You're going to want this one. And, this does smell like Aquavelva. I love it. It's that, sort of powdery, sort of, old school. It's really good.
And interestingly enough, we didn't actually do away with it completely. Our brush soap, we use Sacre Bleu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's still
There's a gentleman named Chris from DE Razor Shaving, I think, commented on a video the other day, and I did not. And I was like, oh, now that you mention it, I get it. But before that, I was like, I didn't know. So that was an interesting piece of trivia there. So people are going to be very excited about Droid Black. They're going to be very excited about the possibility of that coming back. Also, the app.
Yeah. So sign up for notifications on the app, people, because that's
okay.
A lot of people. Well, I won't say a lot, but there's half people will turn the notification on and half people won't. Lots of people have it on their phone, but again, it's like half and half. You want to turn the notifications on. We don't send out notifications often.
No.
And especially for those releases, that's the only way you're going to be able to find out about it. I mean, unless people start talking about it too. But I mean,
so this is on both iOS and Android, presumably. Okay, good. So we've got everybody covered.
And on our website, you can download it. In the menu, you'll see the app
There's a menu option for the app, and it'll take you to the appropriate place.
Drinking too much coffee here. I got.
So Shady is crushing on Douglas. He's like, Doug is so handsome without his hat. It depends on which hat we're talking about here, because he's got many hats. One past Ben. What is PAA's strongest scented soap? Wow. There's a lot of strongly scented PAA soaps.
Like most power.
Most fragrant.
Well, the Doppelganger Black is very powerful. That one's really strong.
Future Fiction's pretty strong.
Organism 46B, that one will really punch in the face.
Yeah.
Chocolate bourbon. A lot of the more gourmand fragrances tend to be a little bit stronger, like Immortal Peach.
You know, one that really hangs on you like big time is I don't think I've ever put on an aftershave. I know it's aftershave cologne, but chocolate bourbon.
Yes.
If you put it on like in the morning, way into the night, and the next day, if you're not careful, it hangs on you.
Yes, it does. It lingers, and the oak barrel really comes through that one too, and I think that's part of what's lifting it up. But yeah,
Mel,
it's really we have a lot of them. We come home from work smelling like we mixed all the plates. Like that's what we're doing with. So it's just
Gondolier on. It might not like
to her.
It might not like push you out of the door immediately, but like I feel like working with Gondolier, like it's there forever, never.
Shady wants to know if he can get the app on his Motorola StarTAC. I'm guessing no, Shady. Mel wants to know from BBS Live.
Yeah.
Who came up with the name of Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, Fran or Douglas?
Neither of us.
Really?
No, we did, but
well, the thing is, it was like it had to do with like people think that it, immediately think because we're in Arizona, we named it Phoenix, but it's like Phoenix because it was it was like a born again company. It was a combination of both. Birthing this new thing out of the ash. 2 was we are in Arizona. And 3, the first soap supposedly happened like the birth of the phoenix, really. Lava from a volcano mixing with animal fats, saponifying, creating the world's first soap or something like that. So there was like all this different imagery combined in the one thing is, we can never what it all comes down to. But no, we can't. Because of this, we can move. Because there's a lot going on with it.
BBS Live says, if David can get a soap, everybody gets one. He's joking there. What's your favorite PAA soap label? One of many, many, many. That's tough. That's really tough.
So many. I'd have to look at
I kind of like, I don't know, I guess because I've seen it so much. And some people are going to not like it because it's so popular, but I like the clown fruit label. I don't know. I just kind of dig it.
Yeah, clown fruit's a good one. Yeah, again, they're all like, it's tough because they're
your children.
They're all my children, but they all play such a big part in like a small part in the bigger picture. Again, that universe that they're holding up.
I feel like I have Atlas. A favorite. I just can't think of it. I know that I
looking through.
I'm like the kind of person who's like, that's my favorite. So
yeah, she does it a lot.
Let me look.
Yeah, you can look, and we'll.
I'd love to myself what my favorite is.
Sweet Baby Ray wants to know what inspired the mythical mustard for the yellow flare tip.
The name.
The alliteration. I really like that color yellow. I've always wanted a car that color yellow. Fran will never let me get one. So that's the closest.
True.
The closest I'm going to get to it is mystical mustard.
What replaced Crown King Red Egyptian Musk?
Red Planet.
Red Planet. Okay, cool. Yeah. Very good. Getting out some information here. All right, good. Yeah. Anthony wants to know, are you going to make... Sorry, Douglas, go ahead.
Mars, the pyramids there. Like, there's all these different, again, signposts telling you what that is, which is a red Egyptian musk. But you just have to have the eyes to see it, really.
I know what my favorite is.
What?
I just figured it out.
Awesome sauce.
No, it's not. But close. It's Droid Black.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Which
Awesome.
I'm really surprised, but this is really a wonderful label. This is
Fresco's
Yeah.
really, I like Fresco.
I like Droid Black way better than Fresco, but me.
And I mentioned that, with the release of Droid, I just finished writing the next part of the series, Droid Black and the Oracle coin. So if you are watching right now and you enjoyed the Fresco mystery, I think you're going to really dig this next part of the saga coming out, which is shorter. It's only going to be available on ebook as opposed to us printing it this time because that takes far too long. But that's coming too. I'm so stoked with this release because there's so.
Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Like talk about it's a universe in itself. It's just really it's going.
My personal feeling about Droid Black is it'll be hard for people to be offended by that scent. Like you'd really have to be looking for something to complain about, I think, to dislike it.
Nice and well-rounded and lovely. It's a great.
Anthony McPherson wants to know if you're ever going to make a solid cologne of pineapple bay rum.
Yeah, probably.
Eventually, yeah. That's another thing.
We'd like to get to that.
We have over 70 cents. So this is what I was talking about with the collections before. It's like you really have to pick and choose how big a collection for a particular scent is going to be. And sometimes you have limited information to go on with whether that's a good idea or not, or should you put your energy into something else? Where's your energy best spent?
Right.
So since that's been around so long, I think we'll get to it. It's just, again,
yeah, we will. We're trying. Actually, that's on my list of, things to do when we have nothing better to do. No, we have kind of like
that's what I want to do.
We have a little bit of a priority. Like and sometimes we're like, what? We don't have a shampoo in this. What is going on? There's just a lot of stuff. So it's kind of
So Red Wings fan wants to know, when will I Lather be shaving coming back?
When the plague disappears, but I mean,
I can understand that.
Same as Matt Nasarsic. Good Lord.
Anthony wants to know, or actually he's saying, hey, bring back black tea. Black tea was a good one too. I like black tea.
It was a good one. It just kind of wasn't a strong seller, but it was a fan. One of those things that people love, but it just.
I like the cucumber too. The PPF cucumber was really nice. I like that one.
Yeah. The problem with cucumber is that fragrance oil we were using back then, they no longer make it. And see, because cucumber, you can't get an essential oil from it.
There's no.
So they need to synthesize it. And the stuff that we found so far out there when it comes to cucumber oils is not really, it's not good. It does. I mean, there's a lot of, when it comes to fragrance oils, you just need to list fragrance oil on an ingredient label. When in all actuality, there could be up to 4,000 different ingredients in it.
Right.
Cucumber is one of those where there's a lot more going on in there than what I care to deal with. So it's just too much mystery involved with that one. I don't feel good about it. It smells wonderful. It smells beautiful, but it doesn't compare to the stuff we used to use derived from plant ingredients. They don't make that anymore. So this one I'm a little more sketched out by. So it's just apprehension on my part.
Yeah, we just have to keep it. And if we find something that works and is good, because the nice thing about that was it was a drier scent. It wasn't sweet, and so
it was nice.
And they're safe. They're FDA approved and safe, some of that. But if I don't feel good about using it completely, I don't really want to, put my name on it.
Gotcha. So, Jakob, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I know you're here every single time, but he's right here. He's like, hey, will you be doing another aerolite brush? Those two that you came out with, the Phantom and the Amber, those are really nice looking brushes. I like those a lot.
I love those brushes. Yeah, and I think that it's great how they both are bookends to the seasons. The Amber's autumn and the Phantom is summertime. So I guess we need a winter and spring brush eventually. So yeah, I think we will be seeing some other ones. I'd like to do a green, almost an emerald type one, but I'm curious to see what other colors people also want too,
Right.
More about
now, I know you probably asked this question a lot. Best-selling soap or scent?
Well, I mean, there's a short list. Future Fiction.
I'm surprised. Wow.
Atomic Age Bay Rum, CAD.
CAD doesn't surprise me.
Fish Club. All of our original scents, all the first. Dapper Doc is a really big seller. John Frum is really good.
John Frum, yes. Honestly, all of our soaps, for the most part, the majority of them sell really well, but the top sellers are the classics, I think. And Cat is definitely one.
Yeah. And then more recently, some of our newer stuff, because we always have to remember we have new stuff. And, Awesome Sauce does great. Diver Down and Hotel Cecil all do.
Oh, yeah. Hotel
fabulous.
Cecil does.
Very nice. So RFC wants to know, can we get Ice Lime Sage or Steeplechase Blue back? I like both of those. Those are good choices, RFC.
Steeplechase, it was ahead of its time. Remember the guy had the gas mask on his face, hopping over churches. That might be my favorite label, actually. That one was really cool. And that was based off of Slaughterhouse 5, some of the imagery in that novel, to me, in my head anyways.
Okay, so the answer to the question is yes.
Okay. Mayday, ATC wants to know, when are the golden tickets being dropped in the boxes for a chance to visit the Wonka factory?
I'm waiting to hear that myself. I want to go there. That sounds...
Yeah.
Oh, man. There's so many questions here. It's crazy. This one is, will you ever bring back 1K? My favorite.
I like all these questions. They're very...
There's a lot.
They're good to hear. It's good to hear what people are thinking about.
Yeah, it's good that there's demand out there for these scents. Because, again, I'll never say never. And as we've demonstrated in the past, I mean, historically, we do bring stuff back. So if the demand is there. But I will say a lot of these that you're asking about, we've talked about. These are conversations Fran and I have had. So you will see them eventually, I think.
We're currently in talks.
Yeah, we're in talks.
There you go. The Shaving Disciple wants you to remind people to check out the Phoenix Shaving Club or Phoenix Shaving Fan Club, where people can ask for new scents. So that's your Facebook group, I think,
Facebook.
Or a fan Facebook group, something like that.
I don't run that.
You don't run that, okay?
So that's not my group, but yes, it's an awesome group. I'm a little biased there. I love those guys. But yeah, there's a Phoenix Shaving fan page on Facebook that if whoever's watching this, if you want to join, there's no drama, there's no BS. Great group of folks. If you have any, it's a good resource if I'm not around. Also, these guys can answer your questions like that. They've been following us for years, and they own all of our products for the most part. So everyone knows a little bit of about everything that we offer.
Yeah,
so,
they give recommendations too,
and be more objective than I can.
Yeah, too, or just different products that they're using on a regular basis, or stuff they've tried, or scents, or whatever. And
very nice. Hook and Lather Shaving wants to know, what will the new Christmas scent with the balsam Doug acquired?
Oh yeah, honestly, I wasn't very clear in that. I'm going to be making a hydrosol with it, but hydrosol is it's a flower water. So I'll be using that in a pre-existing scent. In aftershaves, historically, people add water to it. I do something a little differently. I use flower water or a hydrosol instead, so you get, again, more bang for your buck. Rather than just water, there's also now a scent note in there too, which may be light. You may not notice it up on the top of it, but if it wasn't there, you would notice that something's missing. So that's how I treat it. Maybe using that in a pre-existing winter scent, just so there's some balsam in the back. But I mean, so I don't know if I'm going to do a straight up balsam note, although we have talked about that. So that could happen that way. But what I was talking about when I bought, or what I was thinking when I bought that was, I'm going to make some really nice hydrosol or try to distill some essential oil from it. But you always glean more hydrosol than you do essential oils. So I would be using it in a splash more than anything else, I think. So there's that.
So now is the time that you can make the big announcement about Son of Honeysuckle being discontinued forever. I'm trying to scare Mary. I'm joking.
But it is happening. All of our summer scents, thank you for bringing that up. All of our summer scents are going away in a matter of days. The 31st.
When does that happen?
31st.
31st.
Last day, and all the summer scents, which is in our menu under summer scents, they're all there. Outdoorsman's Friend, Aloha Smackdown, Son of Honeysuckle, La Tierra Mojada, Terra Preta, and I might be forgetting something, but they're all there, and time is running out, people. So,
Marion, you better go back. You better go and get some more Son of Honeysuckle before you have to wait.
Continued forever, but they're going to be gone for the year. So, nope.
Naka wants to know, can you do a fresh, clean spa scent? She really liked the avocado one that you have.
Oh, Avo Nice Shave. Avo Nice Shave. That was one we did for a California meetup that happened in San Diego a few years back. And I think we made it. No, we did a run of it too.
I mean, what about like Garden of Bali or Fresh Clean? Is that like, can we do a Fresh Clean?
Oh yeah, Garden of Bali is definitely. I mean, we do Fresh Clean scents, but
that was the question.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would say grab some samples, Banaka. There's definitely samples of.
DK wants to know if you'll ever make another injector razor. He's always after everybody wanting those injector razors because he's a really big injector razor fan.
Yeah, you know, they're really tough.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same like demand as the DE blade razor. So I mean, it's just extraordinarily expensive to do. So that's
just time consuming. People don't understand working with these manufacturers. I mean, like some people think that we do stuff overnight, but a lot of these things that we put out is like a year in the making, or sometimes 2 years in the making, or finding another manufacturer, or like, I mean, then there's lots of manufacturing has moved over to Asia, as you know, so you can't even find people here to do that. And when you do, that's in itself is a pain in the ass. And they typically, you know, it's just, they don't take you seriously when you're these people, because it's like, you want to make a razor, and these people used to working in the industry, for car industry or whatever they're using these materials for, and then we want a small order of 200 razors. It's not interesting to them.
It's the order size that really trips us up, because we just are small. I mean, it's like, here we are, you know, it's us. So
if we only made razors, maybe if we only made that razor, then it'd be much more easy to do. But we do a little bit of everything, so it's like, again, we have to pick and choose where we put our time. And we did offer them when we did.
Prince of Gypsies wants to know, will Doppelganger Orange ever reappear?
I don't know about that one.
Didn't sell.
Yeah, it was really not a big sell. I mean, it's possible, but it's not. We're not like talking about it right now.
No, you might be the only one who's asked about that. And I think
the inspector is very, very insistent on this. He's like, when are you going to make that mocha scent? He's been after those coffee mocha type for a long time.
Tricky. And
well, I mean, we did. I think we did the best coffee scent out there, and I really do think it was the best. Spring Hill Jet. It had coffee essential oil, coffee absolute, coffee hydrosol. It even had caffeine in it. I mean, it was just coffee on top, real coffee, no fragrance oils, on top of coffee, on top of coffee, on top of coffee. Everyone wanted the coffee scent, so I went out of my way to make this incredibly expensive on our side scent and sell it for the same price we sell all of our other ones. And then no one bought it. And it was wonderful. It's like, it was so potent. But I love that. So, that's another label I liked.
So Ronald Parente, I hope I'm saying your name right, Ronald. He says your soaps are fantastic, but he also thinks your brushes and razors are great, but they don't get enough praise. And that you certainly have quite a few brushes and soaps, brushes and other things for reasonable prices. The brush line is really quite good. I especially like the Aerolite brushes, but the Atomic Rocket and the others are really nice as well.
I think we really started, our brush line started with Crown King. Crown King was the name of our brush line originally, and we learned a lot doing that. And then when we moved over to Phoenix Shaving, doing our own brushes there, reboots. I think we started the whole scene around rebooting old brands and whatnot.
Right. That
brought in a lot of other people doing similar things. So it's kind of diluted whatever magic we had. I'm glad this happened, because I think a lot of these things need to come back. But I think there's just so much out there right now that I think it gets drowned out a little.
Maybe like our razors. I mean, so the Metaphor razor is
I like that one.
Such a sleeper, but
yes.
So in terms of the gushing feedback that we get from people, sometimes I have never seen more amazing positive feedback than on that Metaphor razor.
It's a good razor, yeah.
Ever. And so it's people don't maybe they're not it's it's not a scent, maybe it's not as exciting to talk about, but when we people give us feedback all the time, and so it's really touching, the things that people say about some of these razors, but that one in particular, and people buy it and it sells and it's good and it's fine, it's not the DOC or
it's like the Prismatic. Prismatic was another sleeper, and they both very similar razors. for whatever reason, they are sleepers. I agree. But they're
I just used the metaphor yesterday or the day before. And what I think about it and what I said at the time is it's deceptively efficient because it doesn't really feel tough on your skin, but it is tough on your whiskers or hairs, which is exactly what you want. You don't want it to be tough on your skin, but you want it to do the cutting. And it feels mild, but it does a great job. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a year and a half or so ago, you sent that around for a few of us to test, and I liked it then, and so I did buy it because I did enjoy that razor.
I liked it, but you didn't think it was anything special. The original prototype I sent you,
I don't remember.
Like 3 big guys. You were one of them. I sent to a few other people that were like, it's okay, but it's nothing special. So we took it back, made a few tweaks, and then released it. But because I wasn't so certain of it myself either, because it's not the same as the prismatic. It's more based on the Laresh than the prismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Different the cap's wider. It's just a lot of different things going on there. But with the tweaks, I think it made it a little more special. And
it's good. I like it. It's very smooth.
Prismatic, actually, before we started doing this, I was shaving.
Cool. So Lauren Dupre wants to know, where are the strawberry scents?
Well, we had Enigma Machine.
Yeah, Enigma Machine.
And that's just, on a hiatus. We don't know how long that will be, so.
An homage to Sex Wax. It was I think it might have been the first Big Shave West soap.
3 of them. And
then eventually, we did 3 actually that year. And then it turned into Enigma Machine because that was the most popular out of the 3. And a lot of people think Sex Wax's first soap was coconut. It's not. That's what they do now. But the original Sex Wax soap was strawberry, going way back.
So Push wants to know, do you have any spooky Halloween scents in the works this year? Let me just say this, because I remember years ago, it's been like 5-6 years ago, you had a soap called Dirt, and I bought it. And it literally smelled like I went outside and put a shovel in the ground and turned dirt over. So I was amazed that it actually smelled like dirt. But then I was also like, this smells like dirt. I don't know. I was like, it.
Right now.
That became Terra Preta.
Yeah.
And Terra Preta, Megaflora, and La Tierra, those 3 scents are meant to be used together. So you can create the forest when you use, you can use the deodorant for Terra Preta, La Tierra Mojada for a shave soap, and then Megaflora for your splash, or whatever. Mix up different combinations there, and you create a different strengths of the forest. So it's
Z Longshore had something that hasn't been done, a caramel apple. I don't know how you do that, but I don't recall anything like that ever been done. That's interesting.
No, you're right.
Caramel apple.
That's true.
But
I mean,
that would be hard.
When it comes to fall scents, that's pretty much what we're known for. I think we probably have the most fall scent.
Well, we were just talking about that, because it's like, I don't know that have we done a new fall scent in the past couple of years? Because we have so many, so it's hard to bring out.
And we've done away.
It depresses me. It depresses me greatly.
The first first fall scent we did was, Cider House 5 and Pumpkin 3.14, or Pumpkin Pie. That was the first pumpkin.
And we don't do the pumpkin 3.14.
Yeah, we stopped doing that because everyone does them now. It seems pointless. But those 2 scents won the scent off on Sharpologist like 10 years ago when there was only like 5 artists and soap makers. But those
Cider House won the scent off.
No, I think it was
Cider. It was Cider House.
Pie. Pumpkin Pie.
It was Cider.
And Pumpkin Pie was interesting too because I was spray painting all those tins by hand, with gold on my front porch.
So a lot of people have said that they really thought what we used to call the film canister tins for soap. We always wish that we had a plastic tub in that form factor because it's awesome, because it is wider, but it's so thin and cool. And people who load from the container, they love that because it was just so big.
Yeah, it had a drawback though. The metal aside, it's such a wide format that people are having trouble storing.
Yeah, you couldn't stack them.
Good point.
So, so there's a couple things there. One is it would be really cool to have that wide format, but we still have to keep our other size because a lot of people, they like that. It's kind of become so standardized at this point. And Okay, so plastic injection molding. Holy moly! Like,
Yeah, it would be expensive. Yeah.
Expensive, crazy. I mean, it's possible, but is it worth doing? Like for us to have 2 different sizes of soap, because sizes
doesn't make sense.
It's like hair-pullingly like crazy to manage. It's so hard.
Especially for you 2 formulations too. Then
Hidman mentions syrup, I think, in pancakes. And here's another one that I think you had the or whatever it was, A+. I wonder if anywhere all the old ones that are no longer made or discontinued are cataloged somewhere, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about that came around in the last few years, even 5 years.
Melvin.
They would not know about quite a few things. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Melvin probably has all of them. There is no archive. There is no catalog. What you have to do, and what even I do, is scroll back on Instagram and Facebook to see what I was doing so many years ago.
There's a lot of those that people just don't know ever existed.
No, and they ask for them. It's like, no, we are. The thing is, this is what I typically tell people, and I sound like a total ass when I say it. It's like, but if you can think of something, chances are we already thought of it. Only because we've been doing this for 10 years now. So it's like, and we've done so many things. Like, I mean, someone was talking about making an old book sent the other day to me, and I was like, honestly, we did that 6 years ago. Called it Tack Room. But I mean, like, we've there's all these. If it's an obvious scent like that, we've done, like leather book, whatnot. We've done that. It just doesn't sell that well.
So Daily Carry Solutions wants to know if you have any doppelganger scents coming in the future. Would love discontinued version. I'm not sure what he means by that part, unless he means bringing back something that's.
Oh yeah, at some point in the future, we're kind of entering like the holiday season. So we're sort of trying to we're trying to be really organized this year, and we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
One thing I want to tell people is this year, do not wait until the beginning of December, if it's anything like last year, to order cosmic cookies, because mine, I might have ordered it the second week, maybe the first week, and it didn't arrive till after. It wasn't your fault. It was just floating around, it was horrible last year. It was just absolutely, November and December was terrible.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a little better this year, but it's like gonna be. You should order in November and December. Stuff comes.
Yeah, I won't make that. No, well, I got it, so I'm good now. But I slightly missed the window of Christmas.
You know what? I think it's our fault. I think we released it closer to Christmas, maybe.
Maybe. So, I don't remember. Sash Shaver wants to let you know that you did a stellar job with Sundown. It's hard to distinguish from the original Sun Up. Now, I think I've heard you say she wants to get rid of that one.
That's a really good scent.
Sorry, Fran.
Fran's tried to get rid of that a few times.
I have.
I fight that one every time.
Well, now I love the label, so we can do that. That's.
Yeah, she thought the old label I was giving the bird.
Oh, Trevor wants to know, do you find soap sales follow season somewhat predictably?
Honestly, we're pretty busy all year round. We have maybe like a couple months that are a little softer, but like maybe the summer is a little bit quieter, but it's I think people would be surprised at how consistent it is. Like the holidays for us aren't like so much busier than the rest of the year. We're pretty, because I think people buy for themselves more than, people are just always buying soap. So we don't see too much fluctuation, really. I mean, that much. Pretty steady.
Thank you.
Yeah.
RFC wants to know when the new Scuttle is dropping.
I would love to know that too.
We're working on it. That's another thing that's like behind the scenes. You guys have no idea how much work.
That's been in the works for over.
And that's another thing where pricing is tricky too, because now you're talking about this huge scuttle. It's like 5 inches in diameter.
Weighs over 2 pounds.
We do free shipping over. When you spend over $65, we do free shipping. So we'll typically get this huge scuttle that weighs, how much does it weigh?
It's over 2 pounds to ship, and it has to go in a 9x9x6 box.
And that's shipping that we typically off of the cheap price that we're selling it at. So it's like, that's
a labor of love.
That's a labor of love. And I don't think a lot of people realize. So, but are we looking to release a new one? Yeah, we've been battling to release a new one. We've been really gone through three manufacturers?
I'm on the fourth one
right now. So it's like, it's got to be done right. Do it. We just don't want to sell crap is what it all comes down to.
Yeah. It's been
quality's got to be there.
So I realize I'm not going to get to all the questions because we'll be going all night. But one of the things that you mentioned the other day was scents that you might find appropriate for going in for a job interview or something like that. Now, I'm going to say right now, just knowing what I know about Droid Black, I think that's a scent that's non-offensive, that would be perfect, that I don't think you could offend someone with that scent. Your ideas?
Well, this is such an interesting subject. I've been toying around with this all week, because there's a bunch of different schools of thought. Some of the big frag dudes apparently think don't wear any scent. Like, why risk the job? And I'm more like, okay, if you're a frag guy, you're into these complicated scents and whatnot. I can see where that might be a thing. A lot of these guys, I think, tend to overwear it because they come to guys to it anyways. So yeah, in that case, yes. But when it comes to single scents and simple scents, I think you can get away with that. And I'm thinking more of like a psychological angle rather than turning someone off because of your, you know, and I think like certain scents, well, I know certain scents psychologically affect you. I mean, we're talking about our sense of smell here, which is one of the most poorly understood senses that we have, yet the most strongest. So how can we use that to our advantage, what little knowledge we do have of it? And I think using certain essential oils, and I don't mean essential oils, I mean essential oils as we would in perfuming, like single notes. Lavender, for one, is really calming for both you and the interviewer. So, I mean, a little that, you know, behind your ear, maybe not a lot of it, but just a little dab, or maybe on a handkerchief in your pocket, whatnot, that might be great to, you know. And the reason why we're talking about this, and the reason why this is on my mind, is because I had a customer recently ask me what's a good scent.
Oh, you're good. Okay.
That, you know, with COVID and everything like that, people are looking for employers now, and employers are looking for people as well to work. So, I mean, you see all these help wanted signs. So I felt like this would be a great conversation for us to have today. But yeah,
let me interject one thing really quickly here. If you're going for a job as the bingo announcer at the old folks, the Elks Club, son of honeysuckle, hired. You will be hired immediately because of all the blue-haired ladies in there going to be loving that honeysuckle floral or anything rose. I'm cracking on Marion here a little bit.
Or aqua velvet. Aqua velvet. See, that's another thing too, is you got to realize what is the job you're going for. If you're going for a high-end job, you may want to wear a high-end fragrance. You also want to do a little recon too. Get in there, talk to people first before your interview. See if you can pick up on stuff and like, are these people wearing fragrance here? Or maybe it's a fragrance-free environment. You want to, before you go in there wearing something wildly, you want to know what you're walking into. So it takes a little recon too. But if you do that right, I think you can like trigger a good response by using certain scents. Vanilla, also very calming for both and relaxing for both you and the interviewer. So they may not even be picking up on this right away. Women interviewers are actually more acceptable or are more tolerant to fragrances and perfumes than men interviewers. So yeah, if there's a scent that this is my thing. It's like,
so you would not suggest Aloha Smackdown, for example?
Well, if you're going for the bingo job.
Yeah. The thing also, what I was thinking is, you know, the reason why we gravitate to a lot of these scents, especially homages, is because they're nostalgic to us. They remind us of our dads, of our granddads, so on and so forth, which we may have pleasant experiences with. However, if you think wearing aqua velvet to the interview because it reminds you of your dad, it may also remind the interviewer of his dad, who he didn't get along with. So maybe stay away from something where there's that possibility. Stay away from those type of scents, which is pharmacy bought scents, aftershave classic scents, and stick with single notes that we know through aromatherapy. I've found articles in Psychology Today, also Frontier Psychology, when it comes to interviews and scents. So this is a thing. And so I'm a little disappointed that like some of these frag guys out there saying, don't wear anything. I think there is some science behind this where you can use it to your advantage. It's just digging around and figuring out what works, but taking into consideration everything we've just talked about here too.
So PAA scent, let's say you're going on a first date. What might you pull out of the kit there? Let's say you're not old like me. Maybe you're still a young buck with plenty of gas.
Well, you know, future fiction, but that's
a good
because that's something you do. You want to wear on a first date. You want something sweet or seductive. you don't want to wear sweet and seductive to an interview. That's going to get you a date. It probably won't get you the job. So, like, it's knowing what to wear and when to wear it is so important. And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration. They just have scents they like, but they don't think about them strategically. And as someone that works with scent every day, I think, and like, even like some of our, like the reason why I did pumpkin pie back in the day wasn't because it was a fall scent, but I know it's an aphrodisiac to men. So when the scent off was happening, this competition, I was like, all the judges are guys. I should go with pumpkin pie. And again, that one, it rated really well because of the psychology, I believe, behind it. So like, you have to think strategically when applying this mode of thought, I think. And when it comes to that advantage in strategy.
Now, what are your thoughts on seasons? Do you think, like I say it all the time, I am wildly inappropriate with respect to season. I don't care if it's chocolate bourbon in the summertime. I don't care if it's citrus in the wintertime. Now, that said, I'm not looking to be right on top of people either. I'm not really looking to share so much. I just want to enjoy it for myself. So I'll use anything. I'll use Aloha Smackdown in the middle of the winter. I just, to me, prescriptive type things where they're like, oh, you can't wear this, you must wear that. That's a buzzkill for me. On the other hand, I should say, if you're going to a job interview, you might want to be more strategic about it.
Yeah, know what you're walking into. But, you raise a good point. Wearing Aloha Smackdown in the winter or wearing the beach in the winter, if you suffer from, seasonal depression and whatnot, that's exactly what you need in the winter. You need those summer scents to boost your mood. And that's what I'm saying. Scent is powerful. It's a powerful tool. So knowing how to use it when you need to use it to enhance your well-being is an art form. And I don't think enough people think about it in that way. But yeah, there are no rules. It's really what works for you, what raises and enhances your mood and well-being.
Now, I think there is one situation that makes sense. If you wear a scent, and especially if you're outside, and it's one that's prone to changing with respect to your body chemistry, and maybe if you're sweating, then I can absolutely see avoiding that sort of thing. If it's like something that's going to turn bad on you, and you went out and you were smelling great, and then all of a sudden after an hour, you're like, oh, this doesn't smell so good. I do get that part.
Sure.
But
I mean,
go ahead.
The right scent is like wearing the right suit for the job. It's only an extension of your own personal style, and it makes you feel strong. It makes you feel confident. Certain scents will do that to you. But much in the same way you would prepare for an interview with like questions or what they might ask you, what answers you might give. You also want to test out these fragrances too on the people around you and ask them, hey, what do you think about this? Getting some feedback there before you walk in there blind, I think is important. But yeah, if something turns weird on you, you obviously would want to wear that. And you obviously would know beforehand by asking people around you before you walked into that interview. But again, I think a little recon is necessary if you're going to pull this off. But yeah,
right.
You want clean. Clean scents, clean and confident scents are I think the way to go. If you're going to use like a fragrance, but if you're going to use a single note, I think you can think more of like aromatherapy, like going for the lavender or going for a vanilla or whatever, or maybe a combination of the two, and just a hint of it in there. But
I gotta ask you something. There's a couple of ingredients that just seem to go well when they go well with other notes, I should say. Patchouli is one that by itself or too much becomes intolerable for many people. And then on the other hand, bergamot seems to go good with everything. Like I don't think I've ever had bergamot offend me ever. Patchouli can, but patchouli can also be very, very nice. There's some notes like that can be really polarizing, but they can also make it. I think anise is another one.
Yeah,
it can be extremely polarizing, or it can go quite nicely. And I think the people who make sense, who know how to use those, it really makes a difference.
The trick with patchouli is just don't mention that it's in anything.
Yeah.
No, because that's exactly right. Like on its own, a lot of people just don't like patchouli, or they associate it with maybe something that they just don't. I don't know, but it morphs and blends like wonderfully.
Yeah, it blends really well.
So it's a great essential oil to use
as a supporting scent in a blend. It's
like
great,
magical.
Like if I didn't tell you it was in there, you wouldn't know it was in there. But it's filling in the gaps. And then, you know, it goes back to what, maybe you're getting a job for a festival this summer. What do you wear to that interview? Patchouli.
Well,
Now, are there any notes that are wildly different that go together? So you have something like bacon and then something sweet that you wouldn't think go together, but when you eat it, you're like, well, you all don't eat bacon, but you know, you follow my train of thought here.
Yeah.
Smoky scent.
Smoky and sweet. I mean, like, yeah, they definitely are like bacon with maple syrup. You know, it's interesting because you're smelling with your mouth too. A lot of those sweet scents and whatnot. I hate to digress, but I need to. Like, a lot of the times in videos, you'll see guys smelling something out of the bottle. Now, don't look at my nose. Look at my mouth. It's closed. You're doing it wrong. When you smell a scent, keep your mouth open. Because your mouth adds to that. It's part of smell. You smell the whole scent that way. It's like wine tasting. But it's greater odor perception when your mouth is open when you're smelling a scent. And all too often, I see in videos, people with their mouth closed doing it. You're cheating yourself. You'll get a greater perception of the scent when your mouth is open doing that. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but something triggered. Well, I wanted to get that out there before we took off.
So let me ask very quickly.
Bacon.
What's next? Anything you want to let folks know about that's coming? You have any updates to that? Well, first of all, please let people know about the app again, because that's going to be important for people to follow.
Yeah, it's key that, and I think it's fun too. Like, I mean, we're going to have in-app releases that are products that are only going to be available on the app. And you'll thank me in the long run. Our app is available for, you know, Apple as well as Android. So it's just right. It's like Amazon. Like, I use Amazon mostly on my phone. I don't typically go to the site on my computer. So we're just making it easier for folks. But so we want people using that more. So in a way to motivate them is doing in-app releases. So it's just, I'm telling you, it's quicker, it's easier, and we put a lot of work. We probably put, how long have you been working on this for?
Oh, the app? Yeah, a while. Like, I don't know, that's been like about a year.
People think an app is like part of the website. An app is like its own website. It's its own separate thing that you have to develop, and build up. A lot of people don't realize that. It's not this quick and easy app thing. It's like we built this from the ground up to be another, store, if you will. So you have the website and you have the app site, and they're both their own separate entities. But we want to really get people onto the app as well. And so that's why we're doing these in-app releases. And we'll do like giveaways too, stuff that's only available on the app. And we really just want people to be aware of that. We're going to have some fun with that.
And we have some really fun, we have some new razors coming.
Remember this?
And old things coming back.
The low haiku instructions. We have like a from the vault.
Nice.
These are the instructions that came with low haiku original.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I found a stack. Look at these. I found a stack of these that we never used. So I think for Black Friday or for something during the holidays, we're going to do like from the vault stuff. And so I might do like the old label with these instructions. I also found some old labels of Oud Spice. Last year, it turns out I made probably about 100 holographic labels, and I only passed out 50 of them. So I have last year's holographic labels with last year's date on them that I'm going to do something with, like from the vault. But
so what else would you like to let people know about PAA, or where you're going, or just anything generally you'd like to convey before we end the show this evening?
Oud Spice. Yeah, Oud Spice is coming back. Well, I want people to know that Droid Black is coming very, very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. If you aren't signed up for our newsletter or the app, do so ASAP. Notifications are good.
And where are we going? Where's Phoenix Shaving going? Well, we hope in 2021 that we can maybe be around other human beings next year, but we don't know yet.
I saw someone asking about the Big Shave Swest, and it's like, no one wants to do the Big Shave Swest more than me.
Not right now.
I'm dying inside to do. Like, we were so close to doing it in 2020, and we had to, like, so much work went into that, and we had to pull the plug on it. And now I get everyone asking, like, when's it going to happen? And it's like, it can't. It can't until this COVID thing is solved and gone and everything else. We can't take that risk of. I worked so hard on something only to pull the plug on it like 2 weeks before it happens. Like it almost killed me. It was just so like, it sucked so bad. Because we were looking at such a killer year. You know what I mean? Like it was going to be such a great event, a week-long event, you know? So know that I want to do it. It is coming up, folks, but we got to get through this COVID thing first still. And it's like, unfortunately, the reality of the situation is it's still here. Do what you can to make it go away, and then we can have this big party. But until then, I can't do it. I'm in a holding pattern.
Now, the question on the screen, I'm not going to read because this goes on YouTube also, but you are free to read it and chuckle if you please. I don't know that that's a read.
Don't it, right?
Outside of our wheelhouse on that.
Yeah, that might be another company. There is one artisanal company that I know of that has things along those lines.
Yeah.
So, but Ben, there it is. I hope everybody can see it and enjoy that very quickly. Just wanted to pop that one in there before we left. Anyway, I want to thank you both for coming on this evening. We did struggle with a little bit of audio popping out, but I think people were able to get a feel for what's going on, what's coming. I think it's exciting with the app. Droid Black is going to be really, really good. I think people are going to be really happy with that one. It's always a pleasure to talk to both of you and hear your thoughts and perspectives. And we're wishing you, good luck, good health. It's a crazy time right now for everybody. So I just want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's always great to be on with you and whatnot. So we really appreciate it. I know I tend to talk. I think it's all the caffeine I consume. So I apologize for that.
Thank you for having both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to talk to people.
Yeah. Well,
it was good. Fun.
But yeah, thanks for having us, Chris. And thank you all for tuning in. You guys are really the lifeblood of this show. I mean,
yeah, they are, and we appreciate you all. And I think there was a lot. There was a lot of times tonight where there were 85, 86 people going, so there was a good turnout tonight. So thank you all. We really appreciate you. Hope you all stay safe. Until next time, God bless everybody. We'll see you next time.
Stay on.
Bye, everybody.